I ran a couple of marathons. One of them I dressed up in drag, a dress. I wore ballet slippers. I had long socks on. Audrey, my wife, did hit on me. So
Welcome along to episode 4 of the Creator Podcast, where I interview some of the best content creators from around the globe. And today's guest comes from a land down under. He began his YouTube journey back in December 2014 where he posted some videos of his family holiday to Fiji. 10 years later, and his channel's amassed over 9 million views, 1,800 videos, and he's fast approaching 20,000 subscribers. Ladies and gents, please join me in welcoming today's podcast guest, Seb Tries to Play. Welcome in, Seb. How are you, sir?
G'day, how you doing, mate?
I am doing very well, mate. Now, thank you very much for joining me today, Seb. I do understand you're still feeling a little bit under the weather. Is that true?
Yeah, I've been a bit crook the last couple of weeks, so if I do cough, I apologise.
No, it's all good, mate. It's all good. It's all natural, isn't it? All natural.
You can't help it sometimes, mate.
So the first thing I like to do in the podcast is to get the guests, just to give the viewers a little rundown on who they are and what they do. So in your own words, Seb, who are you and what do you do?
Well, first of all, that channel that you talked about in 2014, that's my personal channel, and I really didn't upload much there at all. So the actual Seb Tries to Play channel started in January of 2022. The personal one was just something that we just did for and giggles. So I never really put anything into that channel. But yeah, good research, mate. But yeah, the Seb Tries to Play, we are a gaming streaming channel with my 2 teenage sons and we pretty much just try and play some positive gaming and have some fun and enjoy it with our big community and ever-growing base. But we don't take it too seriously, mate. That's the thing. We try and have a good time, and that's about it, really.
So talking about games, you play a huge variety of games on your channel, everything from Minecraft right the way through to Dead by Daylight. So what's your favourite game for playing at the moment?
Oh, at the moment? Well, I mean, Fortnite's up there. I really enjoy playing Fortnite. But to be honest, when I stream, my favourite streams are when my 2 teenage boys are playing. So last night we played Roblox on stream and we played a game called Dress to Impress. And it wouldn't be a game I'd play on my own. Like, it's just not something I would play. I don't know if you ever played it.
No, I watched your stream back earlier on. So when I texted you saying I'd missed your stream, I got the notification, but it was just way too late. So I went back and had a watch of it. So yeah, it seems nice. It's a bit like a fashion show. It's a bit like a fashion show in Fortnite.
It was. So we had a lot of laughs. But they're the streams that once I've finished, I just have a big smile on my face because the whole point of the channel was to hang out with my teenage boys. Like the whole premise of when we started was so I could play with them. And streams like that, even if it's a game I would never play. I come out of it a lot more fulfilled and a lot happier. So it's any game my kids are playing, to be honest, because I play a lot of games that are first-person story modes, and I get a lot out of that because it's my chill time and I get to relax. But the funnest games are the ones when my son Bade and my other son Drew are playing.
So what is your favourite game of all time then?
Oh, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Really?
And very, 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 very close is God of War Ragnarok.
Right. Very nice. I haven't played Red Dead Redemption 2, unfortunately, but I have seen it.
Cool.
But it's just, I don't have the attention span for them, I don't think.
Do you have thousands of hours?
No.
Like it's a game. Yeah, it's a game that you 100% will be drawn into. And if you haven't got the time, it'll be a frustrating game because you have to spend hours and hours and hours on it.
So I take it it's all about the storyline more than the actual gameplay itself.
The story's amazing. It's one of the best, most well-written games in the history of games. Like, and the amount of exploration you can do in the open world map, and the side quests you can do, and the people you can meet. It's like a TV show that you're playing in.
Nice. So as a live streamer, or as live streamers, we're constantly faced with technical challenges. And I know you had a particularly bad one at the start of your streaming career. Is it true that you once streamed for a whole hour with your own microphone muted?
Don't we all do that? I
I've
saw
done my
one of your
research, mate.
podcasts.
I've done my research.
Well, when you start streaming, not many people watch. And I was never one to care. Like I just played my game and I'd just talk and have fun. And I think I may have one or two people in the chat who might have been lurking just to sort of do a favor for me. And not one of them told me that I was on mute for the whole game. I think I was playing Five Nights at Freddy, I think, if I remember. Security Breach. Is that the one you're talking about?
That was it, yeah.
Yeah. And no one told me. And eventually a mate of mine who's been a streamer for a really long time, really good friend of mine, Xbox Cowboy, Mad Mikey, said, "Hey, you're on mute." And I was like, "What?" I've been on mute for the whole time. So look,
Shout out to Mad Mikey then.
Yeah, he's a good guy. And in all honesty, I'm happy to take the piss out of myself and make fun of myself. So I made a good YouTube short of it. But yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I actually forgot about that.
Welcome. You're more than welcome. It's always nice to dredge up the old past, isn't it? So
Yeah,
talking about microphones, I believe congratulations on order, because I do understand that you are now sponsored by Rode. Is that correct?
Oh, look, it's a small sponsorship thing. They looked after me to try and help out my community. So they, this arm and the microphone and a lot of merch, which, hey, congratulations to you, mate.
I won a t-shirt, a signed t-shirt, and it is sitting in my my office, which isn't really an office, it's a bit of the kitchen, but it's sitting here, all framed.
It's one of the first piece of clothing I've ever had to sign. Can you tell?
Yeah, when it got here, I was like, oh, he struggled to sign that because it obviously kept moving on you, I'm guessing.
Well, again, it's something I'm not privy to. I don't do it very often. I don't pretend to think I'm.
You better get used to it.
Well, I signed. It was, I don't know, how many did I give away? 15 things, and everyone wanted them signed. So it was an interesting and fun experiment. So we have some talkings in the background. I can't talk about it too often, but it's or too much. But there's definitely some things that we're looking at doing again in the future. And again, I have to shout out my Harvey Norman in Ballarat because Matthew, the manager there, he's the one that actually passed on all my details and a link to my channel to the road.
I was just going to ask this. So how did the sponsorship come around then? Did you approach Rode, or like you were saying, how did it come about?
Well, it's about a year long. It started a year ago. So I don't know, you were done your research, so you probably saw that I did a competition for some teenagers last year I called it the Ballarat Regional Youth Games. And I was trying to promote positive gaming and, look after your mental health. And I promoted this competition, 3 days, 10 events for 10 teenagers. And I was looking for sponsorships all around my local town in Ballarat, and I approached like JB Hi-Fi and a bunch of gaming companies, and Harvey Norman was one of them. And unfortunately, they couldn't sponsor me. And I ended up doing the competition, and I paid for everything myself because I had a vision to do it every year, and I really wanted to make an impact for the youth of Ballarat to try and promote that positive gaming. And it went great. Like the 3 days couldn't have gone any better. The 10 events were great. It was received well. We were on the local radio and the local newspapers, and the teenagers were so supportive and did amazing. And a whole bunch of companies jumped on board and said that they wanted to be part of it for this year. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to do it this year, just with the business I run and finances and a few other things. And obviously the channel growth has impacted my spare time as well. But yeah, go a year after actually visiting Harvey Norman, Matthew contacted me early, like a year later, saying, "Hey, we've been sort of watching your channel and the growth, and we're keen to get more involved with you. And I've spoken to the road rep, who's really keen to get involved." And then he told me to go down to the shop, and he had a box full of goodies and the arm and the mic, and that's sort of how it happened. And now, it was really him. Like Matt was like, I asked him a year ago, and he sort of just put it on. So him and his son have been watching the Fortnite streams now, and they're like, they just really enjoyed it, I guess.
Good. So have you got any content coming up in partnership with Rode that you can talk about? Obviously, there's a lot in behind the scenes that are all part of NDAs and stuff like that. But is there anything you can tell us that you've got coming up with them?
So I'm look, not video wise. I did a YouTube short that I tried to do as an ASMR short, which didn't go as well as I'd hoped. But it was an idea that I had for a while that I wanted to do. And again, we're always trying to do different things, aren't we, with our videos? And look, they were pretty happy with it in regards to the concept and all that sort of stuff. And but in regards to like one-on-one stuff, they sort of they're not huge on continuously doing stuff. So it was sort of like they've helped me with the merchandise and they're giving away. And if I wanted to do more, they're more than happy to give more merch. I am going to an expo in October called PAX,
Right.
and it's one of the biggest gaming expos in Australia. And they're going to be there. So I'm going to go and meet them up there. But I'm not like a huge sponsor. I'm not Loser Fruit or Laserbeam where they're sponsoring me thousands of dollars a year. It was more of a see how this goes, have this sort of stuff to give away to your community, and then we'll revisit it depending on how it goes, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but everything's got to start somewhere. At least you've got your foot in the door, haven't you?
Oh, 100%. Like, mate, I don't take it for granted at all. Like, I was taken back that they even offered it. So, like, you know, mate, if it's a cool thing, I'm happy to do it. So,
excellent. So you mentioned a minute ago about the growth of the channel. So let's go back and reflect for a little bit. So at the beginning of the year, when we first met, you were on about 2,500 subscribers, and now you're over 16,000. Did you ever think you would have grown so much in such a short period of time?
no.
That was a quick answer. Thanks for that.
Well, I don't take it as seriously as some people do. Like, I don't know if you obviously looked at the channel, but a lot of my stuff is just gaming with my kids, and then I share things that I think is funny. So my YouTube channel is pretty much an amalgamation of my TikTok, my Facebook, and my Instagram. So, you know, Facebook, you find a funny meme and you share it.
Yeah.
I do that. Like, I'll find a funny video on Twitter or on TikTok, and I'm like, oh, that's funny. I'll share that. Or, you know, I'll make a video from a gameplay and I'll share that. And I'll be like, you know what? TG did a really cool Paul's game video. I'll make my own one and I'll share that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't take it that seriously. And when I share things that I think are funny, a couple of them just blew up, and I'm just like, I don't know how that happened. And I was very lucky that they did. But in hindsight, it's really not like those couple of videos that blew up were just ones that I found funny. And I've been doing that since day one. Like, I've shared that many like meme videos that I just didn't think about it when I did it. Do you know what I mean? It just happened to hit the algorithm and get, you know, a couple of them. One got shared to 4 million, one got shared to nearly 2 million. Excuse me. And a couple of other ones were a couple 100,000. But those, like, there's a few that I actually had edited, which were nice to get traction. But yeah, the growth of the channel, you know, it's been nice, and you can get caught up on it very easily. And you start thinking, oh, can I hit 20,000 or can I hit 30,000 or whatever? And I just have to remind myself that I didn't start a channel
to chase a number.
Yeah, exactly. I have to remind myself it's not that serious. It's just YouTube. I ground myself weekly that I did it to hang out with my teenage boys. I did it to play games with cool people. And I make sure that I am consistent with hanging out with my community and doing the right thing by them, and not getting too overwhelmed by, you know what, I've got 16,000 subs there, which is nice. And people like to remind you, don't they? Hey, you've nearly hit 17,000 subs. So I'm like, thanks, man. But it's not that serious, you know?
So you mentioned this a little bit earlier on. So has the rapid growth of the channel impacted you in any negative way?
No. I mean, again, you look at your YouTube app a lot more than you probably should. You know, and again, this is me grounding myself and reminding myself that it's not that serious. It's just YouTube. The fact that I'd hit 1,000 subs in a night or 500 subs during a stream, which you were part of one time, it plays with your head a little bit because you're sitting there going, okay, well, this is pretty cool. Can I hit this amount? Or can I hit this amount? I think that's the only thing that I took on it, was that I got to remind myself, and I've said it, I'm repeating myself, so I apologize, that it isn't that, like, it isn't serious. It's not that serious. It is YouTube. It is just video making. It is gaming. Remind yourself that it's fun, because you can take it too seriously to the point that if you don't have a great week or you don't have a great month, that you get down on yourself. And I found myself, so with the last May, June, July, every month were just better months. There was, it went from 1 million views to 2, 4, 6 million views, 9,000 subscribers one month, and then 5,000 subscribers. And every sort of month you say, okay, well, that's pretty cool. But then you start thinking, this is a negative side, is, okay, what's the next video I can make to keep this going?
Constantly chasing that number.
Yeah. And my sort of July, I was just like, I can't, like, there was, I think 2 out of the 3 videos that went viral were just funny memes that I shared that I thought were funny. And I'm thinking, well, I can't keep this up. Like, this, as good as it is, it's not the reason I did it.
It's not sustainable, is it?
No, of course not. Which is fine. And again, the last sort of month now, I've sort of grounded again back to what I was probably doing before. Still a couple 100,000 views, anywhere from 500 to 1,000 subscribers. And again, I think the YouTube algorithm sort of slowed down on a lot of channels, and picked other channels, I guess, that are probably going to have their turn.
I would agree.
Fine. But I mean, it's not a negative, because at the end of the day, it hasn't impacted my family, it hasn't impacted my wife, my kids, myself. We're still eating food, we're still living under our roof, and we're still happy. So
good. So, I mean, I think I know the answer to this one, because you've sort of mentioned it about 12 times in that last sentence. So if you've got any advice for someone that's thinking about giving streaming a try, what would be one bit of advice you would give them? Would it possibly be, don't take things too seriously?
100%.
There we go.
It would be.
No, I agree with you. Because it is very easy to do. It's so easy to get sucked into it. As you were saying, you forget why you began, why you started it. Because the numbers is what you're always given access to, and it's always what people are chasing. You're always seeing videos for how to get 1,000 subs, how to get 4,000 watch hours. That is always the first sort of target for everyone that joins YouTube to get monetized. But then after that, it's the 100,000 plaque, but you're constantly chasing stuff yourself rather than focusing on the content and the viewer. You're worrying about the numbers, which you seem to have detached yourself from, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, the first 6 months that I was streaming, I reckon it was just me. It was Drew, myself, my nephew Owen, maybe a couple of Drew's friends just playing Fortnite. And then it was Bade, myself, maybe Drew if he was playing the same game, playing War Thunder or, The Last of Us. And we never, like, if someone came in to say hi, we'd just say g'day and have a chat to them. And we never looked at the numbers. Like, I remember there was a time where I might get 20 views on a stream and we were excited, and then when the blow up happened, I was getting 20,000 views on a stream, and then again, this is the whole grounding yourself and remembering that it's not that serious. And all of a sudden, a month later, I'm getting back to 100 or 200 views a stream. I'm like, you know what? 6 months ago, I was excited about that. So it's that whole don't take it for granted. And I think if you're going to start streaming, do it for the right reasons. Don't do it to chase views. Like, do it to have fun. Do it to game with either, if you game on your own and you enjoy gaming, then that's the reason you're gaming. Like, the recording and the streaming is just something extra. If someone comes into your chat, say g'day, have a good, chin wag, and don't take it too seriously.
Don't take it too seriously. I'm going to put that as a tagline for this.
It's my favorite thing. I saw it on a TikTok. There's this guy on TikTok. He's hilarious. What's his name? I'll look it up.
Wasn't later. The Joker from Batman, was it, saying why so serious?
No, it's not Heath Ledger.
I hope not. He's dead.
Yeah, poor Heath Ledger. this TikToker just he does like cooking videos for bodybuilders. Like he's just and he's hilarious. And he one of his lines and he says is it's not that serious. And every time I watch him, I'm like, he's right. It's not. Like
Life isn't that serious, to be honest with you.
it's correct, mate. You know, the whole YouTube streaming, you know, video making and everything, and the whole not too serious. And it reminds me of like earlier this week, I had a stream that I was going to do, and excuse me, I got home from work, and my son Bade and I were just sitting at the kitchen table, just talking crap for about 45 minutes. He was telling me about his day. He was telling me about, you know, in his school class, they made a potato shooter or potato launcher or something, and they were on the oval shooting things on the oval. And we were just laughing for about half an hour. And it was probably the first time in a few months that we'd had a longer conversation than 5 minutes. Because, you know, with your teenage boys, it's more of a grunt.
Yeah, in passing.
Yeah. And we'll just I'm sitting at this table going, man, I could do this every day. Just listen to him telling me stories about his day. And because he's been sick for a while as well, he's not very talkative. But again, it made me, I always reflect on the whole, I could do that every single day of the week and I'd be happy more than streaming every single day of the week. Does that make sense? My family are always the number one thing for me. And again, that I take seriously.
So to completely switch tangents now away from that very deep and meaningful chat.
Sorry.
No, you're good, mate. It's beautiful. It was nice to hear. And we will touch on the fact that sounds wrong. We'll touch on the family later on. There is some questions about the family I wish to ask you about anyway. So we'll put that one on the back burner for a minute. Still talking about content. So what do you think the biggest misconception people have about being a content creator is?
That it's easy. Like there's so many kids tell me how lucky I am. You know, you're so lucky. It's so you make it look easy. Well, yeah, I mean, you're constantly trying to keep your attitude up. You're constantly trying to be positive, and regardless of how positive and you know have a happy attitude that I have, there are some nights I'm just not on. So
no, and it's hard because when you've got a life, you're a real person. So no matter how your day's been, if you've had a crap day at work or something's happened in the family, and you for whatever reason decide you want to go live because you want to play a game to unwind, but you think I may as well just stream it, you may not be the best company in the world. We've all been there. I've had really horrible streams where I've literally just barked at people and stuff and said, look, tonight's not the night, and finished it. Because it's not fair on them. They've came to sort of enjoy the stream, and you're sort of putting your own issues onto the stream, and that's not their fault. So I think you, as a streamer, you've kind of got to decide when's a good time to stream and when's not.
No, I agree 100%. I agree. Like, and again, when I say it's not that easy, it's not that hard either. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm in the trenches and in war or, you know, my full-time job, I work physically hard, you know, but mentally it's easy because I'm by myself working in the elements, physically exhausted at the end of the day, but mentally I'm fine. Whereas at night, I just want to do the right thing by whoever's in my chat, whoever's in my community. I want to make sure I'm evenly sharing my energy to the community and new people, as well as my wife and my boys. Yeah, there's a lot more thought into it than just jumping on and streaming.
So do you still enjoy being a content creator then?
Yes, because I get to hang out with my kids.
You make it sound like they don't live with you.
Well, they're teenagers, mate. And again, my eldest son just has a girlfriend now, so he's there. I think they've had their 1-year anniversary. So trying to get his attention back from her is good fun. But no, she's absolutely lovely, and we couldn't be happier with her as his girlfriend. She's a lovely person. But again, they've got their own lives, their own friends, and their own interests. Drew, I hang out with Drew more than anyone because he's still that 13-year-old, you know, he just wants to hang out with dad. He's still got that concept. Whereas Bade's now got his own group of friends. He's a bit older. He plays games like War Thunder, and he's keen to play Roblox, but it's more of a niche as opposed to just Fortnite, Roblox. You know, all the kids can play games that he play. They just can't. But that's the thing, like with running a business and then streaming, a lot of the time I am in this office by myself. So when I say I get to hang out with my kids, it's true because I get to game with them. Because if I'm not streaming, they're gaming. So I'm hanging out with Audrey, my wife, and that's how we sort of balance that. I make sure that I do spend time off stream with her because she's the most supportive person in the world. Like without her, I don't think I'd ever be able to do any of this. Yeah, so I do still enjoy it.
Do you enjoy it? Do you enjoy it more or less than when you first started? Has your enjoyment for it grown? Or is it the same?
No, look, it's the same. I'm very consistent. I have fun, and again, we have good days and bad days. There are some days I don't want to stream. There are some days I do. You know, I get excited about certain games, and I get more excited if I know both my boys are going to be on the game. Like last night, I was so excited to get home from work, and I said to both boys, "We're going to start the stream at 8:00," and they were like, "Yes, Dad, let's get into it." And then Bade's girlfriend Kate was like, "I'm playing as well, Seb." I'm like, "Awesome!" That like, there's some streams I'm like really excited about, and other streams that I would have organized or set. And I look at the game like, I don't want to play that tonight. So I might change the game depending on how I'm feeling. Because there's some games that people want me to play that I'm not too big on, but I play it for them. And again, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I do chop and change depending on how I feel with the game as well. So, because as we said earlier, if you're mentally not there, it's not going to be a great stream. And I don't want to have a bad stream either. So
what's been your best moment so far in your YouTube career then?
ooh, it's a good question.
I don't think that would be the hard-hitting question that was going to stop you in your tracks.
Well, I don't.
Is it there's so many it's hard to pick, or has there been none?
No, look, can it be my proudest moment?
Yeah, of course.
It'd be the games. It'd be the regional youth games I did last year. I'd spent months, and I mean 6 months, planning, meeting with companies, writing up letters, writing up consent forms, getting insurance to make sure that we had everyone covered. I'd spent hours planning, organizing the events, meeting with companies, meeting with council, so our politicians. And for the 3 days to go off as perfectly as they did, and I had that much support from my family and friends and the parents of the teenagers that competed for those days. And to be able to do those videos and get the reaction we did was the proudest moment of my YouTube channel, because I was able to give something back to a bunch of teenagers. And yes, my son was in it, and yes, a few of his mates were in it. But it was an amazing 3 days, and the effort, like I worked. So I was up at 5:00. I was on site at 7:00 to make sure that it was all set up. Wherever we were filming, I made sure my brother was there, Audrey was there, both my boys were there, and then we'd finish at 5:00 that night on whatever event we were doing, and then I'd be home editing videos till midnight, and I did that for 3 days, and then I took the week off afterwards to finish editing because I wanted to make one video per week. But it's something that I could not continue doing. Like,
it's not something you can continue for too long, is it?
Well, no, and we invested a lot of time and a lot of our own money because I had a vision, and I wanted to prove to people that I could do it and put my money where my mouth was. And it was like I'd met with politicians to see if they were keen to give grants and sponsorships, and they were extremely cool. But they said, look, we want to see you do it first, and then we'll talk about being involved next year. So that's why I put my own like money and time into it. And then this year, when we finally had a meeting with them, they wanted me to do it, but on their terms, and that's why it didn't go ahead this year, because I didn't like what they were asking me to do. It didn't sit with my morals. It didn't sit well with the vision I had, and I financially couldn't do it again. So it was the proudest moment. Look, one day I may be able to do it again if YouTube can grow to the point where I earn enough money and to do it. Like, again, every cent I've earned on YouTube, I've spent plus more on the YouTube channel. I've not made any money on YouTube. I've always put it back into the community. But that wasn't the point of YouTube. I didn't want to make millions of dollars, and if I ever did, I'd always put it back into it. To be honest, I'd happily pay my bills and then look after other people.
Good. Now, a little birdie tells me that you used to be in a band and you played Battle of the Bands. Is that true?
No.
Oh.
No. I played guitar with so there's a couple of bands that I used to hang out with in my teenage years, and I would jam with them, but I never ever played in their band. No. So I did play guitar, but I was never in the band. I was sort of like the roadie.
Oh, you were the water boy. That's a shame.
Well, I was sort of like that crazy mate who would be in the crowd surfing while his mates were on the stage. But geez, I had some good friends who played all over the world. They were great, and yeah, no, I was never actually in a band, but it's one of those things that I sort of become really good friends with them after they had sort of become a band. And I used to play basketball with them, and then you sort of go to parties together, and you sort of just, yeah, I guess that's sort of the story with that. But yeah, I've never been in a band. I'm not that good. I mean, I could play the Simpsons theme song on guitar, and that was about it.
That's good enough for me. Do any of your kids play an instrument?
Yeah, Bade's guitar, and he's amazing. If he's really good, actually. And Drew plays the drums. So we've got a drum set in the garage.
Nice. Does he play it?
And he's not as much as he used to. But again, he's really good. Like I've always said to him, you guys should like play some songs together. But they're at that funny age where, they pick stuff up and they'll do it and give it a try, and and then they'll do something else. And they're gamers, mate. If they could spend all day, every day of, gaming.
Playing Rock Band on the Wii.
Mate, Minecraft, Fortnite for Drew, and War Thunder and Roblox for Bade. So nice. I think his guitar sits in his bedroom more than it.
It's a nice ornament. It looks nice. Girls like, guitarists and stuff. They just love them, even if they don't play.
Exactly.
So talking of family, your family's heavily involved in your content. So from your sons playing games with you on stream to your wife Audrey making guest appearances, bringing you food during the streams, which is always nice to see. But on a serious note, is it true that you nearly lost her in 2018 when she took ill?
Yeah, so Audrey has multiple sclerosis. She was diagnosed in, it's sort of blurry now, 2007, I think she was first diagnosed with it. And then, you sort of manage that with your health and your food and doctors, and she was pretty good for years. And then 2018, she had a major lapse where half her body shut down. So her whole left side of her body, she just couldn't work. She couldn't walk. She couldn't move. Her hands, she couldn't hold things and grip things. And, she went to hospital, and pretty much they had to put her on steroids just to get her body working again. And for a good 6 or 7 months, she couldn't walk on her own. She couldn't, get up and down on her own. She couldn't get in and out of the shower on her own. So we became like a really resilient group the boys grew up very quickly and helped with cooking and cleaning and stepped up to the plate amazingly. And now it's all about just keeping that under wraps, keeping our food positive, getting lots of sun, lots of air.
And you talking of air, you even ran some marathons in aid of MS, didn't you?
I did. I ran a couple of marathons. One of them I dressed up in drag.
So just your usual clothes in.
It's a Saturday night outfit, mate. You should see those streams.
Every night's a Saturday night.
Yeah. Did you see those photos?
I didn't know, but I'll be looking for them now.
I'll send you a couple, mate. They make me laugh every time I watch them. But that, like, the story of that's quite funny. Like, there's one year, well, the year that she got, like, 2018, was probably the first year or the year after where I went, I need to do something here. And all our friends knew what happened. Because previously we hadn't told anyone that she had MS. It was sort of like a hush-hush secret. We didn't want anyone to know. But when it happened, when the whole 2018 happened, everyone found out, obviously.
You couldn't hide it, obviously.
No. So a lot of friends and family got around us in regards to the marathon. And we had, I don't know, 20 people run it with us. And we raised, I want to say almost $20,000. I got the trophy behind me up there because when you raise enough money, they give you trophies and they invite you to these dinners. And I was like, it's not why I did it, but it's a nice reminder to say that I did the right thing by them. But there was this one person that said, if you hit $5,000, I'll donate another 1,000, but you have to dress in drag. And I'm like, deal. And I hit 10,000 pretty quickly. I was like, so, I rented a dress. I wore ballet slippers. I had long socks on. I wore a blonde wig with pigtails. And I still had a beard. So it was I wouldn't have been the kind of guy that many men would want to pick up, but if you're into that, good on you.
So now one of the features I like to do in the podcast is I like the guests to leave a question for the next guest. So your question that was left for you by Pringles Domain was, and it's a weird one, do bears poop in the woods?
Ooh.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't expect that much of a response from you. I was just expecting yes.
Well, yeah, they would be. But if no one's there to see it, do they?
Oh, it's like the old, if a tree falls in the wood, no one's there to hear it, does it still make a sound?
Yes.
It does when it lands on a bear that's having a poop.
Exactly.
There you go.
I like it. That's interesting. I wasn't ready for that, but anyway, yes.
There you go. You won't be ready for this either, right? So I need you to leave a question for the next podcast guest. So again, you don't know who they are, so it's a completely blind question. So have you got a question you can think of? It doesn't have to be content related, as we've had a pineapple on a pizza and does a bear poop in the woods. So it can be anything, or it could be content related.
Can I think about it, or do you need me to do it right now?
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do the quick fire round first. Have you heard of the quick fire round? So the quick fire round is, I've got two options for you. I'm going to mention them both to you and I need your response. The quickest one first. Whatever one comes to mind first, okay? Are you ready?
My brain's ready.
Cool. Let's begin. Nintendo or Sega?
Oh, Sega.
Sonic or Mario?
Sonic.
Fortnite or Roblox?
Fortnite.
Intel or AMD?
Intel.
PlayStation or Xbox?
Oh, PlayStation.
Beauty or brains?
Ooh, brains.
Neighbours or Home and Away?
I hate both of those shows. Oh, home and Away.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Hugh Jackman or Chris Hemsworth?
Oh, Chris Hemsworth.
Eat a kangaroo or eat a koala?
Kangaroo. I've already eaten it before.
Nice. Shrimps on the Barbie or sausages on the Barbie?
Snags. Sausages.
Sausages. Well, there we go, folks. We managed to get through them. That wasn't difficult, Seb, was it?
It wasn't, but the Hugh Jackman, Chris Hemsworth one was closer than you'd think.
Was it? Both are Australians as well, aren't they?
Well, they are. And like, I'm a huge Thor fan. So Thor is my favorite Marvel superhero. So that's why I sort of lent to Chris. But I grew up being a Wolverine fan. Like that was literally my first comic book was a Wolverine comic book. So Hugh Jackman has a big place in my heart. So
And
that was a
now your
hard one.
kids can also grow up with Wolverine, because by the looks of it, he's going to be doing it till he's 90.
Well, that's what they said in Deadpool
That's
and
what they
Wolverine,
said,
didn't
wasn't
they?
it? That's what they said.
It was.
So, have you thought of a question at all, sir? I know I've been firing them questions at you now, so probably your brain wasn't working, but have you thought of a question?
I've got a question. I do. What will you do if and when you hit 100,000 subscribers?
But a good few years before I can answer that question, that's for sure. So, one final question for you, Seb, that I like to ask the guests. What does the next 12 months look like for the channel? Have you got anything planned in the pipeline? Any events or anything? You did mention earlier on you were going to an event.
Yeah, so PAX is happening in October. I've got an idea for a video that I want to do, but I don't know if I'll get away with it because they're quite strict with that sort of stuff because they're so used to YouTubers trying to take over the convention. But I've sort of spoken to my brother Jerome, who he's got a YouTube channel as well, Shameless Foil. And we're going together with both my sons, Bade and Drew. And I'm going to try, I've got a cutout of a Fortnite skin of myself sitting in my office over there. And I was going to try and bring that to the convention and set up sort of a table and see how many people I can get to come and meet Seb Tries to Play. I thought that would be a funny video.
That would be a good video. I'd watch that.
Well, I thought, can I sneak my own skin in? It's a cardboard cutout the size of, it's like 6 foot tall. I don't know if you've seen it, but I've
which is strange because you're only 4'3". You must have blew it up.
I'm the original Wolverine, mate, because isn't he that height?
He was tiny.
But yeah, I thought, and again, we've got a few logistics we have to figure out how to do it because I can't fold it. So I'd literally be walking into a convention. I've got some other ideas in regards to videos we want to do. I mean, we've got a convention in Ballarat that I did last year where I live streamed for 12 hours and I gamed. We had like sort of 12 PCs set up where they gamed with me on Fortnite, and we had like 1,000 people come through the convention in Ballarat where they actually sat down and got to play a game of Fortnite. Or watch not all of them got to play, but they got, we played with a lot of people that day. So that's happening again in November, which I'll probably be a part of as well. But apart from that, mate, just consistently streaming and having a good time and not taking it too seriously.
Not taking it too seriously. I was waiting for you to put that in there. That's what she said.
That's. But whatever. I know Drew. He's been streaming a lot and making sure he's safe and he's okay and he's, the right things are happening for him because I want to make sure that regardless of what he's doing it the right way. And yeah, I mean, as a family, we're just doing the best we can and trying to be as positive as we can and make sure that we don't do any harm on others, so I guess that's really what the next year's just being consistent with all that sort of stuff.
Business as usual. Pretty
much.
Well, once again, Seb, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, sir, even though you are ill and in your pajamas. I wasn't meant to mention that, folks, but he is in his pajamas. It is 7 a.m. over there. Well, it'll be 8 o'clock now.
They're koala pajamas too.
Oh, very nice. Do they hug you?
Well, they're hugging my legs.
Yeah. Well, folks, if you haven't seen Seb's channel, I'll pop the link in the description of the video down below, so please do go check him out. Seb, until next time, sir, I will catch you in your streams, so thank you so much for being here, mate. Thank you very much.